we started doing that back when we were at Sprout. So it's, maybe 7, 8 years it's been around. But it has been interesting that it continues to be, in most cases, an effective technique and way to structure and build into content, but also um, I think has sort of evolved within the idea of a topic cluster or hub and spoke or whatever you kind of think of it there. It has definitely evolved over time. So, I think like from here, let's just kind of jump into like why it matters. Like it's been around for a while, it's been a part of it, and why it just continues to be an effective way to think about how you create new content as well as organize your existing content.
Yeah, I think I think you kind of already mentioned about like the indexation, the technical aspects of why topic clusters are important, just from a technical SEO standpoint, right? Like there is a aspect of Google's algorithm or any search engine algorithm now that takes into the semantic relation between pieces of content, but like the ultimate like marketing and end user experience aspects of that are, I feel like, not touched on as much. I mean, you can find it probably
Yeah.
in a ton of different articles out there, but like Derek mentioned, like just uh, subject matter expertise and depth of expertise around a subject, like the immense value that brings to your audience, by organizing content in a really structured way and like making sure that people can end up actually like clicking in deeper to like another related topic is so important in positioning yourself as a subject matter expert, your website as an expert, but then also like the giving your end user or audience or ICP, however you want to define it, really, really, really good educational resources in a really structured way. I think that that's probably one of the biggest benefits that, like, I guess gets glossed over when we talk about it and why it's important from an SEO standpoint.
Yeah, totally agree. Yeah, it's I feel like there's as sort of an end user, I think what the ideal state is, if you've ever been researching something, and I'm, my personality type is I just very much am like someone who researches and consumes a lot of information, so it's fitting for me. But like when you come across an article and then throughout that they're linking to more or the related content, or you can just tell that like it feels like you've like unlocked this huge wealth of information. You go from one article to the next, and you're like, this is incredible. And yeah, it's that process sort of in real time of like you're building that trust, you're building or like seeing this publication as an authority. And so I totally agree. I think that's a huge benefit that isn't talked about as much, as it's not as much of a technical SEO thing, but is a huge factor that when someone lands there and then feels like they've really unlocked that huge wealth of information is a huge benefit.
Yeah, I would add that like I think when you can apply more of that to the user experience on a single page, it does create this level of almost joyous overwhelm, if that's a phrase, which is to say, like, if I stumble upon a very rich resource where they have, it could be a table of contents or a sidebar, different than your jump links, right? But it's just like lets you know that we have this like a plethora of rich information that you came looking for one thing. Like, I'm more than likely gonna bookmark that and I'm gonna share and tell other people about that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Definitely.
I think that that's one of the more underutilized tactics too. The like we're all big on the jump links for like the internal navigation of one individual piece of content. You're starting to see that more of like a side table of contents, but for the actual hub of content that you're actually connected to, which is like I feel like incredibly effective from an internal linking standpoint because of the natural way that you can like have anchored text and all that, but then also just that user experience is so great. And I don't think a lot of businesses or websites are doing that as much as they should. There's some that we could probably call out, but like that's something that I want to see more from content hubs and topic clusters, that just like elevated internal linking structure. But I love that floating table of contents for other pieces of content, not the one piece of content.